If you have not followed his Triple H horse racing podcast, you're missing out. It's one of the best podcasts in the country.
Good morning and welcome to the HHH Racing Podcast and our first Saratoga Today show for the Summer Meet 2025. I am your proud host, Howard Kravitz, along with co-host today, Patrick Kunzel of Ben and Boozin. Patrick, we are in the Airbnb here. It didn't quite work out the way we wanted. Mother Nature didn't quite cooperate this morning. We were going to go to the track, ladies and gentlemen, and do a cool background shot and etc. But we're in the Airbnb. The weather's clearing out. Patrick, how you doing? First show of the year, Saratoga today.
Yeah, doing great. A lot of twists and turns this morning. Like you said, the weather's been changing on us, but still going to be a great day. We're looking forward to it, and can't wait to dive into this card.
Yeah, so we're going to be talking about the early pick five, everyone. The late pick, let me just update everyone on a bunch of information. Hope everyone can hear us, and we're doing great. I'm actually only turn on the comments, and I'm working off of one monitor. Things are a little bit different, so you're going to have to bear with us. But look who's here. It's Harry Frank is here from St. Louis. I'm sure betting Fairmont today as well. We got Trish Smith from Lexington is here today. Of course, Katie is here. Chris Walsh. What's up, Chris? How you doing? Chris will be on our show later. We got to make sure we talk about our Saturday afternoon Weekend Warriors show coming up later. We'll do that at the end. We got Tom Espinosa just jumped in from California. Welcome, everyone. So again, things are a little bit different based on where we're set up, and of course, working off of one monitor. So everyone's just gonna have to bear with us here just a little bit. A few quick announcements. You can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Anchor. Of course, you can follow us on X there at HHH Racing Pod. Patrick, 3,200. We just hit the 3,200 mark for our podcast on X. Pretty cool. Great tip sheets. Anyone that subscribed to our regular Saturday Power Pick tip sheet or as part of Team HHH or the Saratoga Power Picks tip sheet, because it's very, as all of you know that have subscribed to it, because it's sort of a slow day throughout the country, everyone got my full card analysis of Saratoga. Unfortunately, as I emailed out to everyone with the weather, there are now changes. We'll talk about that in a minute. And so a little bit of the tip sheet is not valid, but in general, there's a lot of information. I also emailed out some workout information as well. You can go to our website, hhhracingpodcast.com, and proud sponsor, Adolphi Racing Club. Matt Cutier, we were at the barn.
Yeah.
Actually, yesterday, right? Pretty cool.
Yeah,
right?
We had a fun morning watching some works. It was a beautiful morning yesterday. I'm glad we got to do that because of what happened this morning.
Yeah, absolutely. Shoot. Yeah. I mean, we actually, you want to tell everyone what the plan is for tomorrow, Sunday, if we can, in the morning, if we can work it out?
Yeah, we're going to try and see the Kentucky Derby winner and his jockey in the morning. We're going to definitely do some more touring of different barns, see the other side, as we didn't really get to do too much by the Oklahoma and those barns. But yeah, that's looking forward to that.
Yeah, we're in Tri-C Saturday in the morning. I actually saw Junior yesterday, and so that'll work out. Pat, you can actually move over a little bit to your left or lean over, whatever, either way. We're doing the same computer, a little two shot is what it's called in the business. Speaking of two shots in the business, we also were on Seth Mero's show yesterday morning, Capital OTB. Actually got a bunch of really nice compliments. If you sent me an email or said something on X, thank you. Patrick, of course, did a great job. So thanks to Capital OTB and Seth Mero. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, they have a morning show live here in what they call the Capital region, which is basically Albany, New York, up to Saratoga. Several 100,000 people are privy to that cable show, and we were on in the morning to talk about the podcast and talk about the late pick five today. Unfortunately, that has changed. So let's just get right into a few things right now. So before we get into our picks and talking about, again, the early pick five, if you're interested in the late pick five, Ryan Anderson and host Pete Visco had a great show on Thursday. Please go to our YouTube channel for that. They did not, if I recall, because I watched the show, they didn't talk about any off the turf stuff or anything, because Pete would have gotten very upset or if Ryan talked about the weather, so no weather conversation on the Thursday show, but that's sort of one of the reasons why I do bring it up, although it wasn't planned to have rain today. Really, there was always a small chance. Anyway, it's a great show, but they didn't talk about off the turf stuff. So we're going to mention a few things about the late pick 5, maybe mention the stake races real quick, but Patrick, but we're here to talk about the early pick 5. So very quickly at Saratoga today, races 5, 6, 9, and 12. As of right now here live, 5, 6, 9, and 12 are off the turf. The 2 stake races, which are races 8 and 11, are still on the turf. Yielding, I don't know. I mean, you got actually Patrick and his good friend Ryan, who I have a chance to meet this weekend, who's over chilling right now, handicapping for today's races. I won't show him because he'll be upset with me. But you guys were out. I mean, how much rain how bad was it this morning?
Yeah, it was coming down pretty good for a good chunk of time. But it is getting sunny here now and warming up. Yep. I don't know. It could be good. It's tough to call, but I would say it could be good by the time we get to the Diana if we don't get those storms later.
Yeah, and the track is sloppy right now. Again, I need to check for scratches and changes. All right. So again, if you're not familiar with Saratoga today, and we have almost 200 people watching live right now and growing. Thank you very much for watching the HHH Racing Podcast. We do these Saratoga morning shows, Saratoga Today shows in the morning on Saturdays and Sundays. Tomorrow, Pete Visco is going to be hosting the Saratoga Today show with Ryan Anderson, I believe. We talk about one of the pick 5s. We usually talk about the early or the late. We're talking about the early today because the late pick 5 was discussed on the show on Thursday. Let's jump right into it. You're going to see our picks on the bottom of the screen. What you're also going to see, and I'm going to see what happens here. Actually, we can see ourselves on another monitor. So I'm going to try to bring up some PPs and some Equibase, actually just the past performances. Actually, I'll try to bring up Equibase as well. I'm not 100% sure it's all going to work the way that I want to. So give everyone a moment. But as I'm setting this up, Patrick, the first 2 races on the card are baby races. And, talk about really quickly, how do you handicap 2-year-old races? Now, you've been doing this for a long time now, but maybe people that are not as informed or, like, for example, Ryan was a little younger, a little newer to the game. What approach do you take to these baby races at Saratoga? Because there are quite a few of them throughout the summer.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, one's for sure is looking at statistics of the trainers, how they do with their 2-year-olds, specifically up in Saratoga over the last couple of years. Others, obviously, pedigrees. But I think the big telltale sign is workout reports. The clock reports are, vital to helping us out here. And, kind of getting tips as to how the horses are working, if they're working forwardly into the race, which I think there's a couple in this race, Howard, that are showing signs of being pretty talented.
Yes, for sure. I was just checking to see. We're going to go a little bit old school. For most of you are familiar with our show, we're not going to be able to show the Equibase entries or the PPs this morning. Sorry about that, but you see our picks on the bottom screen. Let's jump in. First race of the day at Saratoga, 12:35 Eastern. They're going 6, which I find interesting, Pat, because usually early in the Saratoga meet for these baby races, they're usually 5.5, but they're going right to 6 furlongs right away. I'm not really sure why. I do sort of like it, but it does matter. It's hard to wire the field, obviously, going 6. $100,000 is the purse. This is for the boys. There's some very talented ones. The 3 is out, Tapped Legacy, who actually I thought was very interesting. We were privy to some workout reports as well, which I will try to talk about a little bit. It's DRF. I don't want to, give everyone the entire workout report. You can certainly go on a DRF and buy the workout reports. You see our picks. I'm going 4-2-6. Pat's going 2-4-6. Again, the number 3 is out. You are going to go with a horse who's already raced named Curtain Call. We actually have live odds right now as we speak. 6-5 was 5-2 morning line.
Yeah. One of 2 in here that's had a race under his belt. I will say did catch a good competitor last time in Obliteration.
Oh, yeah.
So that has that going for him. Cassie's coming up to Saratoga this summer loaded with 2-year-olds. And I just think the workout report has shown this horse being forwardly placed in positive signs. So that's kind of why I went there. And, obviously, Tagermine is somebody we need to talk about because you feel like there's a lot of buzz there.
Yeah, and if you're wondering why we're not looking at the camera all the time, usually we have our PPs like up on the screen, so we're looking down to left and right on our own iPads again. I think everyone will be just fine. Current Call might be doing exactly that after he goes to Winner's Circle. He's talented. He lost to Obliteration, who obliterated the field. I heard someone in the world that likes using that word recently. For West Point, look, he can win. But when you have horses coming out of races where there's a monster winner, I don't really know how good Curtin Call is, right? I mean, he lost by 7.5. It's not like he lost by a few. I mean, so got a 58 buyer. Certainly first time 2-year-old this by in summer is very logical. Number 4, I think it's Tagermine or Tagermine, $1.4 million horse, the number 4 for Asmussen. I'll tell you what I find fascinating here. And again, we're not going to talk too long through these races, is Ricardo Santana used to ride First Call for Asmussen, right? I mean, and they had a bit of a breakup, as can happen in this world. And he doesn't really ride for Asmussen much anymore. I find it interesting and strange, and there's got to be a story here, because Ricardo Santana is riding for Asmussen in race 1. I have a feeling that's a really good thing. Maybe they're making up. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because usually it's like Jose Ortiz or something. But so I just find it interesting that Santana, comment in the chat if anyone knows anything why Santana is riding for Asmussen when he hasn't really ridden for Asmussen for, I mean, it's been at least a year, I think, in general. I shouldn't say that he's never ridden for Asmussen, but I mean he's not First Call. He's there was an obvious situation there going on a few years ago. Anyway, 1.4 million. This is a horse by Into Mischief out of a Empire Maker mare. So Empire Maker, of course, was a big 2-turn horse. So you'd think 6 furlongs, not an issue. Working really well in the workout report. 8-5 morning line. It sure looks like it's me 1, the 2, or the 4. The 6, so we both got third. You want to mention really quickly, Tom Amos had a win yesterday. Walked right by us, actually, because he won the race when we were in the winner circle, giving the best turned out award for Adelphi in race 5.
Yeah, I feel like Tom Amos is one of those trainers that kind of, signals what Saratoga is all about. Ships in a ton of horses here and points to all level of races. But yeah, Time to Strike obviously was purchased for $725,000. So there's definitely some intent here. I'm just not sure if this horse is going to be fast enough out of the gate. And I just think that, it could be running second or third in here to the 2 or the 4.
King George. I mean, if a king says it, why don't you read it for people that might be listening later?
Hi to the best horse racing podcast in the USA.
King George, you are new to the show. I don't recall seeing in the chat. And we totally agree, King George. I mean, thank you very much for watching. By the way, there's some comments about Del Mar. Look, if people don't want to bet Saratoga, say that's cool. I mean, the races, unfortunately, some of the fields are smaller. I still think the main tracks can be fast at some point, though. I just want to mention that. Jeffrey Wilson has a few chat. We'll talk about dynamic pricing later. Anyway, first race looks like a lot of 2s and 4s. Let's move on. We'll move a lot more quickly now through the races here. Let me go ahead and switch our banners here. Let's go to race 2. It's another baby race. So we got 2 baby races in a row. This one is for the girls, Pat. Again, they're going 6 furlongs, the same conditions, same race, except this one's for the girls. I'm going 6-5-1 in race 2. Patrick's going 5-7-1. There is looks like 2 horses of the 7 have experience, and the rest are first time starters. So again, everyone at home, you got to look at the board. Does the board, if a horse is really well meant first time out, does that mean that he or she will win? Absolutely not. Does that mean they have a better chance to win than for 12-1? I would say absolutely yes. The board tells, especially up here in Saratoga. You're going to go with the number 5. I don't know what you had to drink this morning, but I'm guessing it was not ginger ale for breakfast. But you apparently like ginger ale in the afternoon.
Yeah, with a little bit of what is that? Irish whiskey Jameson? No.
Oh, wow! All right,
that may be consumed later on this afternoon. When
just perhaps,
yeah. No, ginger ale. Listen, looking on the dam side, there's a couple interesting horses there that I know a lot about. Search Results being one of them, one of the foals there, and 5-2 morning line has been working. Worked with Liam's Dust 3 works back at Keeneland. Rudy Brissett will ship her up here, and I think she's ultra talented. Obviously is a homebred for what is that, Peter E. Blum thoroughbred. So
yep.
I think there's a lot of good breeding in here, but obviously there's a ton of talent and a couple horses we need to look at.
Gotta love the names, and as your good friend and my good friend Ryan is sort of listening to us there in the background. It's sort of cool when you're a new horse player and you see these names, because the horse's name is Ginger Ale out of the dam Coca-Cola. Pretty cool. Very creative, very creative. This horse could be really nice. Again, you have to look at the double will pays, right? For people that don't understand, you got to look at the probable will pays. So in race 1, ladies and gentlemen, go to your ADW, hit that probable doubles, and you can have some idea how they're going to be betting the second race if you want to play a double. A ginger ale definitely going to be a factor. I've got that one in second. I'm going to go with a Tropa for Cherie. And what a story yesterday. Again, we could talk. We don't want these shows to be an hour in the morning, but Cherie DeVoe had a winner yesterday out of Lady Eli. It was a great story, other than the fact that we didn't have that horse in our pick 6, but we weren't hitting the pick 6 yesterday anyway. There's some weird results. But Cherie DeVoe trains number 6 at Tropa. It's an Into Mischief filly, cost $450 out of Bernardini mare. Has been working really well in the morning. I'm assuming this one's going to take a lot of money. So again, we're guessing a little bit. I'm going 6-5-1. Patrick, you want anything about asking you want to mention? This is Martin Alvarado. I'll tell you what I've noticed, and I'm not going to look at the stats right now, but I can tell you, Pat, I know for almost certainty that for some reason Mott's better with his 2-year-old fillies than he's with the Colts. I'd have to look that up, and if I'm wrong, I apologize, everyone, but I think that is true. Claiborne Farms for asking.
Yeah, she had a good workout on July 7th, according to the clocker.
Mm-hmm.
They said borderline B+, working with Chit Chat. So I think that this is one to watch the board on.
Yep. That's a number 7 asking. All right, let's go on to race 3, Pat. We go and switch the banners again. We have now close to 300 people watching live throughout the world. Thank you very much. HHH Racing Podcast. Howard Kravitz, Patrick Kunzel talking about the early pick 5 at Saratoga. Race 3 is the 7 furlong restricted for 3-year-olds, $100,000, claiming the purse is $95,000. There's a scratch at number 2, Joey Muscles. Hey, he's out. I'm a little upset, especially for all my Italian friends out there, because I picked Joey Muscles on top. So now I'm gonna have to go somewhere else. I'm going 3-7-6. Patrick, who I'm cracking up, is going 5-6-7. Patrick, Uncle Jim. Yeah. There's a story here for people that do not know. They're not overly familiar, with the HHH Racing Podcast. I'll let you talk about why I even bring that up, and you can talk about the horse.
Yeah, I was laughing in the middle of the week when I got the text that Uncle Jim was going to be running on Saturday, on this card. But yeah, long story short, we had a future on this horse for the Derby.
Yeah.
This horse ran very well at first asking at Keeneland, right?
Yep.
And I know you you watched workouts prior to that, and then watched that race, and you really thought the Connections had a good horse here. But obviously things don't work out. But this horse is still, I think, somewhat quality.
Yeah, he's getting better. He's going to show a lot of speed. So I don't have him anywhere because I'm pissed that he didn't even get to the Derby. I mean, clearly, as you know, I don't bet with my head. I just go visceral and emotion. Absolutely not true at all. I just think there's other speed in the race. He's going to get pressed in theory by the 6, and Jerry's out. The 7 is not as fast, but maybe not as fast early, but Jerry's out. The 7 is probably more talented, or at least I think is more talented. So you're just hoping Uncle Jim wires the field, I would assume, right? Is that how you see it happening?
Yeah, I mean, I part of me thinks there is a chance he could stalk. I don't think he has shown he does need the lead, and I understand that. But something tells me that he's able to do that. I also Kit DiMacci's off the claim are very good. I saw something to 5 for 19 with 26%.
Good point.
I believe that's over since the start of the new year. So I think that they're doing pretty well with in this type of race.
What's weird is one of the things I liked him a lot, and why I liked him for the Derby way back, last year, is he rated kindly in his first start going 7 and just blew by. And now all of a sudden, who knows what he's going to be off the claim here. But I mean, since that race, he's basically been one-way speed and has not really been able to finish, which is part of the reason why he wasn't able to do well in these Triple Crown, prep races. So I don't know. He can win. I'm just against him. I'm hoping there's a little bit of speed. I'm going to go with number 3, Mega Magic, 6-1. Of course, those odds are going to drop a little bit with Joey Muscles out, but might get 4-1. Blinkers on. This is one of the few horses in this race, Pat, that can finish and close. They are going 7. It's a very demanding distance. Has really nice work last time. Puts blinkers on. I'm going to guess and assume that work last time was with the blinkers, although I don't know. Saez is great. And also, what should be mentioned, this horse ran in the slop last time, and it's probably going to be sloppy or at least good earlier in the card on the dirt for sure. So I like that fact that 3's got a little form there. I think Jerry's out. The number 7 at 5-2 is probably the horse to beat. Where we're trying to beat him, but he's fast and consistent.
Yeah, and he's got some good workouts too, according to the clock report.
Yep.
So he's
for Rudy.
Yeah,
we got a little intel at dinner last night. We don't need to talk about it, but now people are like, "What do you mean intel?" Well, let's just say the gentleman that took care of me knows Rudy.
Yeah,
is that fair to say?
Yeah, I would think so. There
Okay.
were some tips being had across the table.
Yes, not only on the bill at the end, but before the bill. So anyway, all right, let's go to race 4, ladies and gentlemen. Race 4 is as I go to that. It's at 2:13 Eastern. Again, they're starting at 12:35 Eastern. They start earlier on Saturdays than they do other days at Saratoga. Race 4 is a 6 furlong starter allowance 20,000, which means all these horses have run for a claim tag of 20,000 or less. Going 6 furlongs, it is a field of 7 now, with the number 4 Sitka scratched. I'm going 256. Patrick's going 275. We're both going to 2 Gray Wing, who also I should say, is a spot play on my Power Pick tip sheet. So I hope this works out for both of us. Why don't you talk about Gray Wing for Oscar Barrera and Mr. Franco in the irons?
Yeah, that last race is a complete toss for me. That horse just had a very tough time throughout. But then you look 2 back, and it's kind of funny. The last 4 races, it's just been zigzag. The horse is just up and down. But I do think the time form numbers say it all. This horse fits right in and should show some early speed.
Yeah, he's been working at a 59 breeze, and then there's only 2 works that morning on June 30th. But so I'm not really, but just the time itself, I'm not sure. I have to look at the clocker report. I'm gonna have Patrick do that. I don't think we got a report on that June 30th word for Gray Wing as we look at it right now.
No, we didn't.
It's in race 4. So
no.
But the workout before that was a solid B as in boy workout. So anyway, Gray Wing breaks, I think, is a major threat here, Pat. 7-2 morning line. When people see that 11th by 16.5 or 16.75 in the last running line, the public tends to, downgrade those horses, but it's always not about the last race. You mentioned, I like to call those yin yang horses. That's sort of great and then bad, the great and then bad. Mm-hmm. Hopefully this will be a great effort for Gray Wing. The number 2 is 7-2. Race 4, our top pick. Patrick, you want to quickly talk about the 7, your second choice, and I'll talk about a few others.
Yeah, Lost in Rome. Listen, this horse is definitely going to have to improve a little bit from the speed figure standpoint, but this is another one where I just did not break last time. Was off a little bit slow, and I thought when this horse has broken out of the gate well, kind of has hit a nice stalking trip in here. I'm hoping from this standpoint for the 7 that the pace is pretty quick in here, considering that it's going to be coming, like I said, from out of it, probably from last, honestly. How this horse is a little bit slow, like I said, out of the gate. So, I don't know. I think the price is good on the 7, and we'll definitely be playing underneath.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to discount anyone. I'm not a huge fan of 8-year-olds at this time of year. I just look. I mean, he a popular claim though. I mean, people love this old guy, right? I mean, You look at the PPs, claim. I mean, this horse is very popular in the claim box. He's been claimed a lot. Kendrick had, I believe, 1 winner. I have to look it up. I know Kendrick's off to he's got 1 winner out of 6 starts so far here at Saratoga. And I say at Saratoga, I mean starting on Thursday when they started the card. The other horse I'll just quickly mention is the number 5, Burnin' Hunk of Love. Gotta love that name. 5-2 morning line. Chad Summers training off the claim. 2 for 4, first or second in the wet. I like that. Again, we're not showing the past performances this morning. Apologize to everyone for that. Please do watch our Saratoga Today shows. We usually have, it looks like our other shows, just this morning is an exception due to the rain and a few other reasons. But this horse has a 4:30 Tomlinson. If you look at the top right of your DRF past performances, you see under wet there, you see a 4:30. Anything above about 350, 360 is good. Anything above 400 is really good. So Burnin' Hunk of Love should like the off. I've got him in the mix, 6-year-old gelding for Jose Ortiz. I'm going 2.56. Patrick's going 2.75. All right. Before we wrap up the show, once again, let's talk about what's happening coming up. Patrick's on the screen right there.
Yeah.
We've only had one official Weekend Warrior show. We had an unofficial one where I had the pleasure of being at Churchill Downs. That particular show had over 6,000 views. It's our new live show. It's called Weekend Warriors. Ryan Anderson is hosting it with Chris Walsh and a whole bunch of other people. You see on the screen, it's going to be about 4 to 7:30 Eastern today. It's a fun show, and we can show live racing at Monmouth and Woodbine. And then, of course, due to contractual obligations, and we don't want to get in trouble with YouTube and etc., Fox, of course, has the rights to the NYRA races with video, but we are going to have the audio for those races. And the boys and ladies on that show are going to be talking about the handicapping live as the races go on.
Yeah, and I heard that Howard might turn his screen a little bit later on. He might pop on, turn his screen, and we can watch the races on there. No, I know we can't do that, but it would be kind of cool to see from the gazebo.
Tell everyone's like from the gazebo. What do you mean? What do you mean from the gazebo?
Well, if you don't remember the show from last year on Jim Dandy weekend when we were there last summer, maybe Howard can do something like we did last year, pop on for a little while, give out some tips and talk about some races live on the first turn at Saratoga.
Put that in the chat. Those of you that are familiar with our show, do you want to see me live, Patrick? And of course, we have to get your buddy Ryan on. We gotta get Ryan on to talk about. We can see the horses in the background live from the gazebo. In fact, if you like that idea, put that in the chat. We can go on there and jump on with the Weekend Warrior guys. Again, 4 to 7:30 Eastern on our YouTube channel. Check that out. Yes, Chris Walsh turning at 4 o'clock. I'm just taking a look at some other comments in the chat. I see Matt Miller's in the chat. What's up, Matt? James is here. Again, the chat's very active. Really appreciate it. Again, with one screen, it's a little bit more difficult to do that. Hey, Philippe. I wanted to throw out Philippe Jr. Philippe Hernandez Jr. is here. Let's do this. Good luck to all. Sylvain, when you come to Saratoga, how far is that drive from Montreal? You can still make it. Come on down, Sylvain. Matt, bring your dance moves. Yes, Matt Miller danced after a win in the background on the show last year. So Jim Pilars is here, etc. All right. Thanks, Jim. Let's go to last race, and then we'll wrap up the show. Now, race 5, if you look at the screen, you're like, Howard, come on. You're giving us one number. Well, when I produced the show and got set up, we didn't know what scratches were going to be. I think it's a 5-horse field. Do I remember that correctly?
Yep.
It's a 5-horse field. I just put our top picks on the screen. I'll be very honest. I'm like a lot of you at home. I wasn't really anticipating a lot of races coming off the turf, unfortunately. Again, the stake races are still on. And if there's no major rain later today, they're going to keep those races on the turf. I wonder, will they race them tomorrow? Maybe. I wonder if they cancel them today. It's going to be interesting because we are going to be here tomorrow.
Yeah,
that'd be sort of cool. I hope that happens if they, because they're not going to be off the turf. They're not going to run those races off the turf.
No.
So if they don't run them today, I hope they run. Well, hope they do, but hope they would run them tomorrow. Anyway, race 5 ends the pick 5. It's now a 5-horse field. It's a real bummer. I was really looking forward to this race on turf. That's the way it is. We got a former Derby horse and Belmont horse in here, and that's where you're going to go with Resilience, who, boy, I mean, the connection has to be a little disappointed because this horse has won $500,000. And when you have a horse in the Derby and the Wood and the Risen Star and the Belmont, you figure as a 4-year-old, they're just going to explode. Was not a very good first time out. Did improve last time, though, against Bramito, who freaked in this race. It was going to be in this race, but the same distance and 1 1/8. Maybe he's just rounding back into form. Maybe he still, could be what he was as 3 and not better.
Yeah, I hope so. I thought the last race was sitting in the 3 and 4 path most of the way.
Yeah.
Did a lot of the dirty work in there. And Bramito got a beautiful rail riding trip. And I know there's the horse in second is a horse that you like later on in the card in Society Band.
Right.
And I just think Resilience bounces back a little bit in here. Should be forwardly placed, and I'm hoping. I do look back at a couple races where it was sloppy. Horse didn't run too well when it was wet. We're gonna get to that. What is it? It's the 5th race. That'll be a decent amount of time in between the rain.
Yeah.
Maybe the track will be improved by then.
I think so. And do we confirm this? This is a 1 mile.
We still don't.
I'm pretty sure this is going to be, because I think the mile and 16 scheduled races. If you want to put in the chat, when they schedule mile 16th on dirt, I think they automatically go to the 1 mile shoot. Actually, I found something very interesting yesterday, ladies and gentlemen. Heard from very good source that they're not carting any 1 mile shoot dirt races the entire summer, meaning they're not going to do that as a scheduled race. Now, they're going to use the 1 mile shoot called the Wilson shoot. They're going to use that when races are rained off, but they're not going to do any actual scheduled 1 mile shoot races. You have some information there?
This is
Okay. Oh, that's the Diana. Okay. So I'm assuming race 5 is 1 mile. I don't think it's a mile. There is a race later in the car that's a 1.8 mile turf race that is now switched to dirt, and I'm almost positive that one is going to be 1.8 miles, 2 turns. Anyway, Resilience is probably the horse to beat, to be very honest with you. I think there's quite a bit of speed on the outside, including a horse I used to have a piece of, Certified Lover Boy, is running. There's not as much speed as there used to. I'm going to go with the 7 Magical Ways. It's not a strong opinion. He was 8-1 morning line. He's not going to be 8-1. Rudy Jr., 3 for 8 on the wet. It certainly has numbers that fit. And I think there's enough speed to set it up for Magical Ways. I will admit that Resilience is probably the horse to beat now, but there is some speed on the outside from Certified Lover Boy, Light the Way. Accretive used to be a very nice horse, not quite the same. So it's only a 5-horse field, race 5, but there's still some nice horses in there. All right, we do not have best bets or anything. Again, we were scrambling a bit this morning, to be honest, based on the situation with the scratches and changes and some other things as well. So we'll just go ahead and wrap up the show here. Talk about your time so far up here in Saratoga, Pat, and is there anything in particular? Actually, we should talk about the stake races really quick.
Yeah.
Assuming it's soft, let's talk about the Bowling Green. I don't know how carefully you looked at it yet. There are some scratches in the Bowling Green. Do you have a top pick you want to throw out there for everyone?
Yeah,
race 8.
I'm not getting creative, Howard. I'm going to go with Farbridge.
Yeah.
My thing was I really wanted to bet Farbridge in the Manhattan. And then when the weather came in, they moved it. It was shortened. That just was going against him, and he still ran great. So I don't know why I'd go against him in here. I know you're getting a little creative though.
Well, I am. The problem is I don't know if number 2 El Razine wants soft. Or softer. He's English Channel. There's no reason why he can't. This is the number 2 El Razine I'm very interested in. I frankly was more interested in him if it would have been firm.
Yeah.
And now that it's only a 5-horse field, Farbridge is more likely to find the rail as if it was like a 7-horse field, right? So I don't know. Farbridge is clearly the horse to beat. I'm going to mess around with El Razine a little bit. And then race 11, the Diana. What an incredible race it is. Again, unfortunately, it was only a 6-horse field before. Oh, Be Your Best just scratched. I don't know if you saw that.
Yep.
Wow, that's a big scratch in terms of pace. Be Your Best, the number 6, is out of the Diana. It is now a 5-horse field with 2 Chads, Schwazia, and the extremely popular and talented She Feels Pretty, who can handle yielding, so can Dynamic Pricing. Excellent Truth for Chad has handled soft before in Europe, although I have a feeling that they brought this mare Hair to run on firm, and she's not getting that, but she's running. Quick thoughts on the Diana?
Yeah, this is my last time I'm going to be trying to get Excellent Truth in the winner's circle. I'm going to try. Divorce papers will be filed if this horse cannot get in the winner's circle.
Okay.
I think ultra talented. I mean, I know we've talked about that first race in the States in the Jenny Wiley, what we thought of her. Then obviously the Just a Game, that was just tough. Ran huge, but Dynamic Pricing, who, we do think will appreciate this type of ground.
Yeah. I just don't like the way the Excellent Truth was moving late in that race on yielding. And now this horse has to go 1.8 miles. So I was thinking that she wanted to hear her feet rattle and would appreciate firmer turf. I'm talking about Excellent Truth. I might just default She Feels Pretty, but I will say this as we end the show. This is by far, at least in my opinion, I don't want to speak for Patrick, by far She Feels Pretty most difficult spot she's ever been in. These are 2 very talented Chads. Schwazi is very good. There's like 0 pace in this race. I don't know, who's going to go to the lead. It's not going to be the 5. I suppose Excellent Truth or maybe Lady Claypool's not very fast. Actually, it could be Schwazia. I don't know. I'll say Schwazia is going to have the lead. I would assume Excellent Truth will be sitting right off, and then the 1 and the 5 Dynamic Pricing, She Feels Free will be in behind. I think it's probably how it'll go. I don't know.
That's how Typeform sees it.
Oh, well, there you go. I agree with Craig Mulkowski. Anyway, we're going to wrap up the show. We really appreciate everyone watching. You can see, please hit the subscribe button. Please hit the notification bell below the video player. Again, rate, subscribe. We really appreciate everyone watching Saratoga today here on the HHH Racing Podcast. Today, again, later, 4 to 7:30, approximately Eastern time. Patrick and I and our buddy Ryan will be in the gazebo off the first turn. We'll pop on to that show, but it's hosted by Ryan Anderson and many other fantastic co-hosts. And then tomorrow morning, Saratoga today again. We'll start approximately. It's going to be actually about the same time, I believe, 10:45 Eastern with Pete Visco and Ryan Anderson. Talk about the late pick 5 on a day that we hope is going to be sunny and on the turf Sunday at Saratoga. For my good friend, I'm pointing the right direction. No, I know that's a good friend and co-host Patrick Kunzel. This has been your host Howard Kravitz. The very first weekend third weekend Warrior show is coming up later. This is the first Saratoga Today morning show. Should we say the 3 words together? Crush your bets today at Saratoga. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
If you have not followed his Triple H Horse Racing podcast, you're missing out. It's one of the best podcasts in the country.